Well, I'm all comfy and not professional looking. No, I'm great. I'm running off to a softball game after this. But
Nice.
we find the moments, right?
Yes, we do. We got to find time in our busy schedule to come together and help people with money. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad we're here.
Me too. Me too.
So today I thought that we would change it up a little bit. I know that we've been having these awesome conversations every Wednesday about various money topics, things that we know that our clients deal with and people out there are dealing with. But I figured it would be helpful if we could let people know a little bit more about us and how we got into the industry and our prospective businesses.
No, that's going to be fun.
Right?
I love talking about how I got started in this. So, yeah,
Yes.
great topic.
Yeah. So, um, to get started, can you tell me what was it that you wanted to be when you grew up?
So, the first memory I have is I wanted to be a teacher.
Mm, okay.
Hmm.
I love
Yeah,
that. And how long did you feel like you wanted to be a teacher for?
forever.
Forever.
Yeah, I mean, I went to school, so I graduated high school knowing I was going to college. I mean,
Mhm.
that was just something that was planted in me at a young age. We had one other person in our family graduate from college, so I mean, it was just something that I was really drawn to. And I took my first accounting class and went, "Oh my God, I love this." And got my accounting degree and then did all the next steps that you're supposed to do. Go get your CPA license, get your MBA. So I did all that, but I didn't really come alive until I was documenting and teaching. And I actually transitioned. I spent a lot of time in India because we transitioned our jobs over to India.
Mm.
And so teaching them, I mean, it just really lit me up. So that's what I do even today is let's, talk about your money and let me teach you a different way of maybe looking at it. How about you? What did you want to do?
So I have always loved science since I was little. And every career that I wanted to do, basically until I got to college, was some sort of ologist. So anthropologist, archaeologist, marine biologist, any kind of like science-based career that I think now looking back was glorified in like TV and movies. Because I think about it and I'm like, we're watching these movies like The Mummy or I was a Little Mermaid fan when I was a kid, and like all of these things about our environment and history and the ocean. And so I just had a real fascination with it, and science classes ended up being my strongest subjects. So when I
Sure.
went to college and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, I tried out a couple of different majors, but I ended up just getting a biology degree. Because then I was like, if I've got a very basic science degree, then I've got a wide array of jobs that I could potentially, find.
So that's perplexing. Biology to financial professional. Okay, come on, you got to spill it.
Right? Isn't that like not even remotely on the same
Mm,
pathway?
well, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's a lot of skills that are shared there, but yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out of college. I had this biology degree. I knew I wanted to do something, science-based or whatever. And I ended up working at a cancer center. And
Oh,
ended up working inside of a laboratory, and we were responsible for collecting like tissue and blood from patients and freezing it and storing it to be used for research. And it was a very fascinating job. I got to see all the body parts of a human being, all the organs. I got to see what cancer looked like in the body, things of that nature. And because I found that job, I just ended up staying in clinical research for 13 years. So I, was at that cancer center for 6 years. I went to go work on type 1 diabetes trials for a few years and then went back into cancer. And that's what I was doing when I discovered the financial industry and the job that I have today. So while my career before was very science based and heavy and whatever else, it was one of those things, like many people, where like you do it for a while and then it isn't quite what you're looking for. It's not quite where your passion lies. And so then, you pivot to something else that you can still do. I didn't want to go back to school. So I was like, what can I get into that doesn't require me to go back and get another degree? So
Yeah, it's so interesting that when we are that age, we're supposed to pick what we're going to do for the rest of our
right?
life, right? Because, and something very similar happened to me. I still love numbers and digging and finding solutions. I ended up always being the special projects girl. I always was given the accounts that nobody could figure out and reconcile. I mean, I loved it. And it's kind of the same approach I use today, which is, okay, you've tried the budget. You've tried what all the gurus out there tell us to do, and it's not working with you. Well, let's try a different way. And so I'm still in that. I'm like the missing puzzle link, that's how I see myself, trying to put these puzzles together. And so even though my world is still in numbers and I love it, doing the day-to-day accounting just doesn't light me up anymore. And that pretty much happened about 10 years into it. So
Got it.
yeah. So I'm still in the same area, and I can still do accounting and help people get their like businesses set up and things like that. But doing the day-to-day stuff, leave that to the people that light them up in that area.
Right. Yeah. And it's really great that you figured that out for yourself, right? And decided like there's something else that I know will light me up and that will still allow me to help people, but it doesn't have to be this particular,
the box that we put ourselves in.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what was it about? Like, what was that transition like? Like, was there a catalyst or something that sparked you to say, I want to start coaching around money and helping people with the day-to-day stuff?
COVID happened.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had a blessing that came out of COVID, and that was our business was completely shut down. All of my husband owns his own business, and in his business, our customers because it's big manufacturing, so they were completely shut down. And I had other business owners reaching out to me asking, "How are y'all making it?" And so we always planned for the unexpected. That's what we always did.
Sure.
When money came in, we socked a whole bunch of it away because we're in oil and gas. And if you know anything about oil and gas, it's whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah.
So we learned pretty early on, we have to save for the rainy day. And we literally were shut down for 2 years. Because we're at the very end of the line. It took about 2 years to get ramped back up. So while we were sitting here staring at each other with kids at home doing online school, I was helping other entrepreneurs figure out how they were going to survive. And it was so much fun. And so we worked on their business and we worked on their personal. And I had a great time doing it, and I saw the relief in people, just their shoulders immediately. So it was helping people, teaching them a new way, a different way is how I found this world.
Nice. That's so fascinating. I actually discovered my new job from a book.
Oh, so, that's great.
I was, this was during COVID as well, or a little bit after COVID. And I was actually working in a hotel lobby with one of my friends who was a financial advisor. And she was in town because she lives in Houston. And so she was visiting for a few days. And we were like, let's do just like a work from a hotel lobby type thing.
Yeah.
Emails, chat, do whatever. And I was reading this book called Secrets of Six-Figure Women, which is a great book. I highly recommend it. And one of the women in it was a financial advisor. And something that she said really resonated to me. She said something along the lines of, I love my job because I get to help people with their money and I get to change their life and to, make a big difference in their life. But I also get to make good money doing it as well. And that like lit a light bulb up in my head, because one of the things I didn't like about my previous job was that I was being capped at what I was making. I had 13 years experience and a master's degree, and I hadn't even broke 6 figures yet. And I was thinking to myself, like, am I have to wait until my 40s until I get to 6 figures? Like, it's one of those things where I just was like, I know what I'm worth. I know what I should be making at this stage in my life, and I wasn't getting that there. But then I also really resonated with her whole thing about helping others, because I'm an Enneagram 2, if you know what that is. So I'm a helper giver. And I'm put into this world to help others and to be able to give them the tools and resources they need to reach their goals. So it all kind of clicked for me. And I turned to my friend and I said, oh my gosh, I should become a financial advisor. And I remember her saying, oh, you would be so good at it. Like your personality would just be really great for this type of job. So then I spent months just talking to female financial advisors, asking them how they got into the industry, what licenses do they have, what firm are they at. And then I found the firm that I'm with now, and it just felt like such a great fit. And I was so fortunate that I could start doing this part-time while I still had a full-time job, while I was still paying the bills and making sure everything was taken care of. But I could dabble in this, get trained, get licensed, learn more about it, and then wait until I was in a really good spot to be able to say, okay, I can finally say I'm done with clinical research. I'm coming into this full time. I know this is what I want to do.
That's amazing. All from a book. That's great.
All from a book, right?
Well, with my background being, accounting, then you get certified to prove that you are an accountant, or whatever my thinking was then. I knew with working from these other entrepreneurs and then on their personal, we kept running into similar issues with each one of them. And it was their money story. It was their mindset around money. And I had heard of life coaching before.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, there was a particular person that I was following that was certified through another place. And so I started looking into that. And not only the amazing people that I've met through that community, and just understanding that we have a lot more control over our results than we really. When I learned that it wasn't necessarily my circumstances that caused my results, it was more of my thinking. It was like
that, right?
The whole world. It's like, oh, okay. And so, my approach is really different than most money coaches. Is we're looking at the money, there's certain things you just can't get away from, but we're also looking at, so what's your story around money, and how is that holding you back?
Yeah, no, that's so powerful. And that's something that I didn't really start thinking about until I was getting into the industry and understanding the importance of having the mindset piece, but also having the practical piece. Because as we've talked about before, we make an amazing duo, because I help people with the actual, like, where to put their money, and how much should they be putting away, and how should it be invested, or what kind of life insurance does someone need. And you're helping people with the mindset stuff, the limiting beliefs, what are the things holding people back or keeping them from being able to do what they want to do. And both of those things are important. Like, they both need to be addressed in order for people to better their financial health and reach their goals and all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Along with the day-to-day stuff, because I do help them with their, if you have debt, we figure out how to get out of debt and how to stay out of debt. So
exactly. And I don't help with day-to-day. I make recommendations on resources and things that you can use for budgeting or debt management or business type stuff, whatever the case is. But mine is very much just short and long-term planning of, what are your priorities, and then what are those goals, and what are the action items that we need to take in order to get to those.
Yeah. So to explain kind of the process, we over here in my area, we find the money. And then once we find the money, then I go knock on Amanda's door and say, okay, now help these people reach their long-term goals, and let's make sure they're taken care of in the future. It's kind of how we divvy it up.
Yeah, it's a very, and it can also, sometimes people come to me first because they think like, oh, I need to go and sit down with a financial professional, put a plan together, do all of this stuff. But then,
which you do, everybody does.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll get people that see me first, and we'll notice that they're having some issues budgeting, or maybe they're in a lot of debt and they're trying to figure out how to get out of it, or things of that nature. And those are things that I, again, can provide resources to, but I can't really provide day-to-day, here are the things you need to do. So I know that is someone that Jen can be able to help, because she's going to make sure, like, I will make sure I can help them with that planning and with the different types of counts and things that they need. And she's going to ensure that not only can they get that day-to-day stuff done, but then they're also in the right mindset of not being, held back by their beliefs around money or scarcity or whatever else.
That's why we make such a great team.
It is, for sure.
Well, this has been fun. It's been fun talking about ourselves.
I figured we would just give our viewers a little glimpse into, how we came into these various careers, because I know a lot of the times in the financial industry, especially, people don't get into the industry from a financial background. They usually come from somewhere else. So it's always cool to learn more about that.
Yeah, and we met on a networking call, didn't we? Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yep.
So, I mean, you just never know. So for all of you entrepreneurs out there, if you are looking to expand your business, those networking calls, you just never know who you're gonna meet. So,
well, this was fun. Thank you so much for answering my questions about your background and all of that, and giving us a little bit more information about you.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing your side. After all this time, I didn't know you were a biology major. Go figure.
Right.
All right. Well, next week we will be back with something fun, I'm sure.
Yes. Good luck. We're looking forward to talking to you guys again. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Till next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.